Pinky Cole situation with a lot of people calling her aggressive, and I also want to talk about the whole Kelly situation and people saying that she was sleeping with Todd. I'll say allegedly. I don't think that it even happened, but I just wanted to talk about why I don't think that it happened. But with the whole Pinky Cole thing on the show, she was doing a lot, and people, the girls on the show, they called it aggressive. So a lot of people, they were saying like, well, they are black women, so that's definitely not the best word to use. Like me personally, I don't agree with casually calling black women aggressive. I don't think that that's something that should be done. I think in my review I was like, well, girl, you were being aggressive, because I just think that there's a very fine line, like between, okay, so she was being aggressive, but let's call it something else. Because like me personally, when you start doing all that and like, hey, hey, that's not something I always say, because I'm just like, girl, there was no need for you to do that. I do feel like Pinky Cole is the type of person where she has had very good accomplishments, and you never gonna take that away from her. She's always gonna get in your face with it. You know what I mean? So I understand that. But I do think that she was doing a lot. People were getting even annoyed when Cynthia was like, in this last episode, that she was saying, "Oh, well, you were being curt with it." Like, okay, you weren't aggressive, but girl, you were definitely curt. I say curt at my job. If somebody being a little, I'll say curt. Like, yeah, you being curt. You know, you were being hostile, sweetie, because she definitely was being hostile in that conversation. Like, you can even see the difference between her and Angela. Angela, she's sitting back, cool, calm, collected. She just, hey, I'm just reading the girl. And even with Pinky calling Angela a bitch in that moment. Like, girl, why are you calling me a bitch? What's the need for that? Like, it was so much. I do think that going forward, just like with Garcelle and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, if it's a black woman, unless she's being physically aggressive, like we know Portia to be, then don't call somebody aggressive. Because I do think that they were doing a lot. I did see somebody say like it was definitely like a gang up situation where they all kind of came together, and I was like, okay, well, tomorrow we're gonna gang up. I don't necessarily see that. I feel like a lot of people, because so much is riding on this season, just like last season, where they are forgetting that this is a show. Like, yes, we can, critique this like it is people on, like it's these girls coming in and doing scenes with intention and stuff like that. I feel like that's okay to critique it like that. I just like to critique it as a show, because at the end of the day, it is just a show. There are real life stuff that happen because it is a reality show, but I just don't know. I just get a little frustrated when people, they kind of take the fun out of it. Like, these bitches is arguing and they're talking about commingling tea. Like, let's just sit there for a second. Um, I don't know. But I do think that Portia was really full of shit. I didn't say it in a review because I kind of missed it, but Portia was definitely full of shit, talking about something like Pinky was being aggressive. She was just a lot. She was just a lot. Now, was Pinky a lot? Yes, but Portia, you were a lot when you were chasing Jamie down a goddamn alley in a damn elf costume on Christmas. Okay, they had Miss Juicy Baby in the building, just as a damn elf, and you are too, and you are sitting over there chasing Jamie down the alleyway. You're pulling Kenya by her hair, which, you know, and then you getting kicked in your crotch by Portia. I mean, not by Portia, by Cynthia, because she done said bitch, I think, or you said bitch, one of y'all, and you done irritated her. So now she got to kick you in your bullshit. But it's just like, I do think that they were doing a lot in that scenario, because it's like, girl, y'all are very aggressive. You know, uh, I'll drag you in this bitch. That whole situation with the what do you call that? The little, oh my gosh, it's escaping my mind. The little night where it was like Nene was hosting, and it was the lingerie party or whatever it was. The sleepover, the slumber party, that's what it was, a slumber party. That whole situation was aggressive, okay? Until Pinky gets to that level, no, she wasn't being aggressive. And I do understand Pinky um being a little frustrated with being called aggressive, but I also think that she should just admit to, I wasn't necessarily aggressive, but I was doing a lot. I can say that. But I don't think that Pinky can, because she's just one of those people where, girl, I wasn't wrong. I wasn't wrong because I said I wasn't wrong. And also she said like, I don't deal with women. That's a little bird brain. You fit in good with Portia. But I'm like, I hate women that say I don't fit in with women. Girl, there's all different kinds of women, all different genres, flavors, all kinds of stuff. To say that you don't fit in with women, but you normally fit in with men, girl, this pick me energy, Pinky. This pick me energy. Anyways, but I do want to talk about the whole Kelly situation. So I've been looking online, and there have been a lot of like rumors about Kelly and Todd sleeping together. I'll just say it first off. Do I think that Kelly's sleeping with Todd, or Kelly slept with Todd, or Todd slept with Kelly, or whatever? No, I am not buying it at all, at all. Honestly, because we know that Todd, he wanted to sleep with Portia. He said that multiple times. I think he said it on his YouTube channel, and he also said it on the show about like who would they do a threesome with, and it was Portia. You know, I mean, that's most people. Portia then, Portia now. You said that you wanted to eat my pussy in the back. I would never eat your rotten pussy. But like honestly, the whole thing really does feel questionable from Portia bringing it up. I think what happened was Portia she probably felt something in the back of her throat when she saw that Kelly said it. I This is what I think happened. I think that Portia saw it. It was like a clip or something, and she mistook it as Kelly being messy in like an interview because she didn't realize that it was on the Bravo after show. But after that, she went on the show and she aired Kelly out and was like, you're saying that I like to sleep with Mary Man or I should stop sleeping with Mary Man, but bitch, you slept with him. She concocted this whole story, probably with Phaedra's non-talking ass. And then she just she realized after, because I think that Kelly kind of broke that fourth wall. I was like, girl, this was on Bravo. What are you talking about, sweetie? What are you talking about? And then Portia kind of realized like, oh shit. But then she just kind of had to keep going with it. Like, you said it in an interview. Or maybe nobody ever told her. Maybe nobody ever told her. But Kelly definitely said that on the after show where they're supposed to be discussing the episode that came up where Portia said I would fuck Charles, and Kelly, she was just kind of commenting on that by saying like, girl, let's just stop sleeping with other people or trying to sleep with other people, man. Like, can we just stop saying that? Because Portia, that was foul as fuck. But that whole thing happens with Portia and Shamia in front of K Michelle, because K Michelle was just bewildered. She was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, is this serious? Like, is this, she's asking producer, is this serious? Okay, she had that Jack Daniels in a teacup. Okay, so I know she was just, whoa. But yeah, so Portia, she said basically, you slept with a married man, BET weekend. He slid out of you, slid over to his phone, called Dennis, which I'm not understanding. Um, and Dennis was standing next to me, and whatever. What I am kind of confused about, Portia didn't necessarily give a time of day, but from what they said on the bus, Kelly said, "Well, no, I went to dinner with Shamia." So how late were you over there with? I mean, because Dennis, maybe they were working on something. But I'm like, how late was Dennis over at your house to the point where you know, how late was Dennis over at your house to the point where Kelly had full on sex with a man for we don't know how long. Could have been 30 minutes. Could have been 3 minutes. This man calls after she had dinner with Shamia, and Shamia likes to drink, so that dinner probably took a minute. But it's just like the whole situation is just so weird. Like how long was Dennis at your house? And also, I think that it was like something about California. Maybe it was in Atlanta. But either way, I'm assuming that it was late if they were going to dinner. You know. So the whole situation is just weird. But I think that Portia is lying. I don't think that it happened. I really don't think it happened. I think that she made up the story to come at Kelly. And I just love the way that Kelly was like, "Didn't you sleep with R. Kelly, bitch?" And he was married. First of all, the accusation of sleeping with R. Kelly. Hi, K. Michelle. She didn't sleep with him, but I love R. Kelly. He was my mentor. But she's probably like, well, I don't see the problem with it. I don't see the problem with it. It's R. Kelly. But But Portia, she was like, I didn't. I mean, yeah, something happened with R. Kelly, but you know, um, he wasn't married at the time, which is such a stupid thing to say because, girl, you were saying that you were being coerced or like you were in an uncomfortable situation with him. That's what I would have brought up. Like, girl, thank you for reading my book, but bitch, that wasn't necessarily a consensual situation. And when that came out, I was helping the federales to get his ass. You know what I mean? Like, I was giving him information because that situation was so uncomfortable. When I tell you, Portia was so bewildered at the reunion, she definitely gonna get Kelly. So I hope that Kelly is on her p's and q's ready for that conversation. But anyways, back to what I was originally saying. So we get to the bus when they're discussing this whole situation on the last episode, the very last like 15 minutes of the episode, and Phaedra, this is where it like really got confusing for me. Phaedra is talking about some, oh, well, I no 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 no. I know the wife. I know the wife and I don't want this to happen and blah blah blah. First of all, they would have bleeped out the name. So the only people that y'all would have been telling are the girls. You know, like and Phaedra was back was to the camera. So we quite literally would not have heard anything. I mean, I guess we could have saw Kelly's, but Kelly was like, "Well, tell me, cause I don't know who the fuck I slept with. Who did I sleep with, girl?" So it would have been either Portia or Phaedra, and their backs were kind of turned. Like we probably could have seen Portia's, but we definitely would have seen Phaedra. So it's just like this, like no, well we don't want it to get out or whatever. Let me tell you something. First of all, that's some whack ass shit. That's some whack ass shit. Because you mean to tell me that my husband is cheating on me? You know my family. You know I got kids with this man, and you ain't telling me this nigga is cheating on me? Girl, you fake for that. All right, you talking about some Candy was a horrible friend in person and everything? Girl, you're fake for that, and I want you to know that. But anyway, so the online after the episode aired, people they started saying that it was Todd allegedly, and I'm like, based on Phaedra's reaction, the same Phaedra who with her and Candy, the breakdown of their friendship was they were really good friends. Phaedra and Apollo, they started getting divorced because, you know, Apollo started doing that real fraud shit. So Phaedra, she was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna be in that. So she started the divorce proceedings once she started, you know, once she was about to go to jail. And Apollo had some stuff that he wanted to keep in Candy and Todd's house so that it didn't get like repossessed by like the federal government or taken or by the government or something. And um Candy, she's married to Todd. So if Todd is doing that for his friend, then yeah, you know. But Phaedra, she was just like, no, like you supposed to be my best friend, you know. So why would you do that? And I definitely do understand Phaedra's issue. Like, girl, you supposed to be my bitch. Like, what are you doing? You know, like tell that nigga to kick rocks and leave his shit on your, you know what I mean? Like on the outside of your gate. Like, what are you doing? But you know, just seeing the type of marriage that Candy had with Todd, I'm not saying it was okay, but I also say like I understand why Candy didn't just say no or whatever. But anyways, we're not talking about Candy. We talking about Phaedra because Phaedra from that point on decided I can't stand that bitch Candy. You know, I used to maybe I loved you more than my husband. So Phaedra went on this whole the next season of like Candy and Shamia was sleeping together. They was well, you can't see me, but they was you know she did a little finger thing where it's like simulating sex with her fingers, and then she was like, oh yeah, you know, Candy, she said that she wants to take you. Candy had a sex dungeon in her basement, and Candy said that she wants to take you down to the basement drug and assault you, you know, to Portia. So it's just like Phaedra went on this whole situation, even to the point where Candy literally had told them people, if that bitch come on the show, I will not be on there, and that's the reason why Phaedra was not on there no more. You know, in addition to probably she just wasn't good for the brand, but that's the reason why because we know that Bravo loves Phaedra. They love Candy, but they really love Phaedra. So it's just like they don't like each other. So I doubt that Phaedra would have been like, no, 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 like let's not do that. And also to be like, I know the family, like Cynthia, Portia, Drew, I don't know about Kelly, but like y'all know Candy. You know what I mean? So it's just to be like I know the family, like I know the family was so weird to me because I'm like they clearly not talking about fucking Candy. If it comes on they are talking about Candy, I'll eat my I'll eat crow. But girl, they not talking about Candy and Todd. Well, obviously they're not talking about Candy, they're talking about Todd. But they're not talking about Todd. Girl, it's clear that they're not talking about Todd. You know, Todd is a lot of things, and the cheater is one of them. You know what Candy said, cheaty poo. But I don't think that they're talking about Todd. I think that they're talking about no one, first of all. But I really think that I think that uh Phaedra was lying. I think she was lying for her friend, and you know I think that's kind of why Portia was like, "Oh yeah," and Phaedra knows him, and blah blah blah. Like they didn't have a name, so they weren't trying to really come up with anything. Honestly, if she really did sleep with somebody, I would really be surprised. I think that they're just lying about it, and I don't think that Kelly has just this moral upstanding where she would never sleep with a married man. Most of them bitches would sleep with a married man, if we're being completely honest, and not their husbands. You know, like not the men married to them, just a man married. Period. But yeah, I just honestly just think that they're lying. I think that Kelly did not do this. I think that that was just something that Portia created to come to us with the bullshit because she was pissed off that she thought that Kelly was coming for her and saying that she was his whack ass cheating bitch that's like to sleep with married men. It is what it is. But just let me know what y'all think. Like, do you think that Pinky is aggressive? Do you think that Kelli even slept with the married man? If so, do you think that it was Todd? Do you think that Portia is a liar in both of these situations? Do you also think that Phaedra is even forgiven Candy? I don't think she has forgiven Candy. But do you think that she's forgiven Candy all these years later to the point where if there was tea about Todd, she would, be like, nah, let's not do that. But anyways, this has been It's Deja. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video.